at the bar. We are back at the barn with Misty Coolidge. She owns Coolidge Family Farms in New Gloucester, as well as Maine mixologist. And if we're with her, we know we're whipping up something tasty to sip on this summer. So what are we making today?
Our first one today is called a Drunken Mermaid, which how fun is that?
That's awesome. Mermaid.
How fun is that?
Looks like so much fun. It makes me
So much
feel like
fun.
I should go to like a water park or something after.
You could just swim in it.
It's so great. Should we try it?
Yes,
Try
feel
it
free.
away?
Yes.
Okay. This is the hardest part of my job, everybody.
For sure.
Ooh.
Hey everyone, cheers. Woo. Welcome back to Wedding Pros Unplugged. Today we're talking to Misty about bar service, and I am the perfect person to do this interview because I know nothing about it. I was never a bartender. I don't know how to mix drinks. So this is Misty Coolidge from Maine Mixologists, and yeah, tell us a little bit about everything.
All the things. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining in. I am Misty Coolidge, owner of Maine Mixologist Mobile Bar Service. I'm here to share with you all of my experience and knowledge when choosing a bar service for your wedding or event. And this can also definitely help new venue owners, wedding planners, photographers, anybody that doesn't know the ins and outs of bar service. So I've had my company for about 14 years, and I'm pretty sure I can say that I was the first mobile bar service in the state of Maine. Years
Did not know
ago,
that.
being a wedding planner, the couples were hiring a bar service that honestly weren't providing great service. And I was like, well, I've been a bartender. I know how to do this. How do I start my own company? So I called the state of Maine. They monitor liquor licenses. So they really didn't know what to do about me that didn't have a license and didn't want one because I don't serve food. So in the state of Maine, you can only get a liquor license if you serve food. A certain portion of your sales, 10% of your annual sales reporting has to be food sales. So you cannot get a liquor license unless you do that. So with me not wanting to serve food, they said, well, you would be operating as a non-licensed service, which there's nothing wrong with that. You just don't serve food.
Mhm.
So in order to do that, they would, so the couple has to supply the alcohol or client. So Maine state law, if you have a liquor license, you have to supply the alcohol to the event. You would either do open bar or cash bar because you have that license to sell. You have to buy the liquor, you have to sell the liquor. That's what that liquor license allows you to do. And then, or you can also do cash bar. You can sell it to your couple as an open bar, or you can sell it to
Wait a
the
minute.
guests.
You lost me. So you don't need a license to do this, but you need a liquor license. You don't need a license at all.
I do not. No,
But
because I'm not supplying any alcohol. I am a dry hire service, which means they're hiring a service.
okay. But
So
so who purchases the alcohol?
the client does.
I see. That's how you get around
That's
that.
the difference. That's the easiest way to explain it. So if you have a license, that piece of paper says that you have to go buy the alcohol and sell it to somebody.
I see. I see. I see.
I
Yeah.
don't have a license, so that
You're using
means
sign language now. I don't have a license.
so if you don't have a license, the client has to
I
supply the
see.
alcohol because I don't have a license to go buy it.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so that's the black and white version.
Mm-hmm.
So with my service, I carry a $2 million liquor liability insurance policy. So if anybody leaves any of the venues or properties that we serve at and anybody gets hurt, then it's on my insurance. And I relieve my venue and my couple from that liability by naming them as additional insured on my insurance policy. So they're
Mhm.
protected. Of course, people that don't like that my type of service is operating, AKA the licensed companies, they will say, well, if anybody's going to sue anybody, they're going to take everybody down. And I go, well, yes, but when it comes down to the final person that's going to fight that, it's going to be it's going to be the bar service. And me, the owner, and then the bartender for over serving.
Hmm.
Um, so you really have to be careful with service, whether you have a licensed or non-licensed service, to be honest. So I'm a non-licensed dry hire service.
And
I carry,
dry hire means,
I'm providing a service. It's
yeah, yeah,
dry.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
not
Okay.
providing the liquor.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's what dry means. There's no liquor that I'm bringing in. The client's bringing it in.
Yep.
So I have a fleet of vans that hauls all bar equipment that couples need for their weddings. A lot of venues don't have built-in bars. Some do, but most don't. So I have probably 3 dozen unique bars, white, black,
Really?
industrial. I've got two
Oh,
boat. I've got a boat bar. It's a 10-foot Bevan skiff. I have a beer dinghy. I have a golf cart bar. I have a whiskey girl food truck bar. So it's a food truck that I retrofitted into a bar.
yep.
So I have all of these unique, really cool bars that we can bring with us. I have chill tubs in white, ivory, silver, gold, black to match weddings. So that's as a female business owner, I always want to make sure all of my equipment matches my weddings.
Absolutely.
So I go a step further in customizing their day. I will also run all of their numbers. So when we have a Zoom meeting, my Zoom meetings with my couples are about an hour. We talk about all of the things that are related to the bar. I customize cocktails with them based on what they love to drink. And then we create, unique wedding names for the drinks. I have ideas, they come up with ideas, and we create a new name.
Hmm.
And then I'll run all of their numbers so they have a very detailed shopping list of what they need for their guests for their big day, whether it be a wedding, a corporate event, a charity event, any of those things.
Hmm.
And it's easy, it's fun, but it's a lot. It's a big risk. And there are some no, there are some dry hire services operating out there, um, not not correctly, which is so venues should really be educating themselves on liquor laws in the state of Maine, to be honest, because as a venue, since I own a wedding venue as well, I've had bar services here that I would not allow back again, for being irresponsible, for not having the equipment that they needed when they showed up, um, for not dressing appropriately.
Hmm.
I've had them show up late. I've had them show up giving themselves an hour to set up, and they have 2 bars to set up. Like, that's not possible.
Hmm.
So hiring a company and asking all the questions of your bar service is really important, and experience plays a big role in that. Now there are some newer bar services out there operating. A couple of the owners I know well, and I'm sure they're going to do fantastic because they are professional and they're going to set the bar high. However, there are some new bar services out there that have been ghosting their clients. I probably picked up
That's like the
24.
theme for 2025,
I
2026.
I picked up probably 24 last minute bar gigs at the end of last season, come fall, because these new services that people hired ghosted them. And they're like, "Can you help us? We're in desperate need. Our wedding's on Saturday." I'm like, "Yep, I've got plenty of equipment. I've got plenty of people. I've got vans. There really isn't a weekend that I get a blackout date for because I have a vast array of equipment and bars. And if I have to even rent a U-Haul, I will. Or if my bartender has to bring the equipment in their vehicle, that's fine. So we'll make it happen because I'm professional and I want to help these couples out that are being frankly screwed over by having a new company that doesn't know what they're doing. And it takes a lot. You don't make a lot of money with bar service. Like, my service fee is only $950. That's it.
Hmm.
So that's and in that fee, that covers my time, that covers my any broken equipment, that covers the cost of my insurance, gas. Like, once you take all that out, I'm not making much on
Right.
on these gigs. But by having, 2 or 3 in a weekend, then that adds up.
Right. Does that include the bartenders, the service fee?
No, so the 950 is the service fee that covers, like I said, my insurance, my equipment, and my time. And then my bartenders are 40 an hour. Um, and that's
That's
for
very
setup, so
reasonable.
very reasonable. Includes setup, service, and breakdown. Um, and then if they want to do and then and then I'll order all the ice for them, and we haul that for them. A lot of most bar services don't have the fleet of vans that I have to be able to haul their ice, so they'll order it, and then the couple has to pay the delivery fee to wherever that venue is. For me, my ice company charges me $35 to deliver all of my coolers to my house on Saturday morning, and we haul them in our vans, so I only pass along that $35. Whereas if you have a venue that's, hour, 2 hours away, you're going to be charged for the ice service to be delivered to your venue.
So much to think about. Yeah, ice. Huh.
Hmm.
So do you ever go to venues that already have bars? So you just man their bars?
So
Oh,
some venues have built-in bars, so we stock their bars,
okay.
yes.
You provide the bartenders for those
Oh,
bars.
and the equipment, exactly.
When you say some bar services aren't doing it correctly, does that mean they might be going to pick up the liquor themselves and they're not supposed to, or they don't have insurance?
Well, there's one bar service out there that I know of, but I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but they
Right.
are operating under a license that's not theirs.
Oh, and the license that's not theirs has to
Meaning
include
that
food,
their name is not on their certificate of insurance
right?
and
But
on
in,
their and on the liquor license.
but if you have a liquor license, that means you have to be serving food. So they're not serving food either, and they're just
So and you have to do your research. So as a venue, as a wedding planner, as a couple, I mean, if your couple doesn't want to do it, then at least your wedding planner and your venue should do some research on the bar service that you're hiring.
for sure.
Like for me, most people in the state of Maine know who I am. I've got a good reputation.
Mhm.
And you know that I'm running things legally. But if you've had a couple that's hired a bar service that you've never heard of, then I would recommend doing some research on them. Look them up online, make sure they're in good standing with the state of Maine. They should have a good standing certificate. You can do a DOB search right on the Secretary of State's website. You need to ask for their insurance certificate. I carry 2 million. But the minimum should be 1 million, but I don't think that's enough when it comes to, major injury or even death. Unfortunately, you have to use that D word when it
Hmm.
comes to liquor. I carry $2 million. All my staff are Serve Safe certified, so they take a course through the state of Maine that teaches them how to serve liquor responsibly. So to clarify, that's a Serve Safe certificate. There's no such thing as a licensed bartender in the state of Maine. That doesn't exist. There's no licensing of bartenders in the state of Maine. So if you see on somebody's website they have licensed bartenders, they don't know their lingo, because you can get Serve Safe certified, but you're not a licensed bartender.
Okay.
You're a licensed caterer, but you can't, as a bartender, say, "Hey, I'm licensed bartender." Well, no, there's no such thing. There's a licensed caterer that has the license, but they have to supply the alcohol.
What did you
So
say? Serve safe? Serve safe.
Serve Safe. It's a course through the state of Maine. It's called Serve Safe certification. It's a couple-hour course. You take a test. It's a $70 and it lasts for like 3 years.
And do all your
Uh,
bartenders have that?
yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much, so many little things you really need to hire somebody experienced. It's
You do.
just, I mean, the ice, the licenses, I mean, everything. I mean, this is insane doing all these
Mhm.
interviews and
Mhm.
hearing all the ins and outs.
There is, and a lot of even some venues and some newer venues. Like I know there's a couple of venues that we work at as a dry hire service, but on their website it says we only allow licensed bartending services. Well, no, you
There's
don't,
no such
because
thing.
you're a lot. No, there's a licensed caterer. So
Well,
yes,
yeah.
but they say they will only allow a licensed bar service. Well, I work there all the time and I'm not licensed, so their website is incorrect. It's fine if you want to keep it there, but you're also causing confusion to couples that want to hire a non-licensed service to say on your website you only allow a licensed
And
service
the
to
thing
come
is,
in.
I mean, you could get a license, you could serve food, but then uh, no, you're stepping on the caterer's toes. Why would you do that?
Well, if, for example, so one of the licensed services that I recommend is Spirits Catering in Portland. So they own the Dogfish Cafe, and they have a mobile license. They have a mobile license. So that license, they have a legal right to travel with that license to venues. So that license travels with them. So it's operated under Dogfish
Oh,
Cafe.
I see. I see. Okay.
So they have a liquor license at their premises, but it's a mobile license, so they can travel with that license, and that they're
Uh,
operating completely legally. So when any of my couples want a cash bar company, for example, I will refer them to Spirits because I know they're professional. I know they show up on time. I know they dress appropriately. Um,
but wait,
so
why a cash bar? Why would you recommend them if a couple wanted a cash bar?
because I cannot do a cash bar.
Oh,
Remember, I don't have a license.
you have to have a license to do cash. Interesting. Okay.
Yes,
Not a
so a
lot of people do
license.
cash bars, but sometimes.
Well, it's a matter of cost. Either you're going to pay for it out of pocket or your guests are going to pay for it. But for me, like it's cheaper. You can buy alcohol for 100 people for $1,500
Hmm.
as opposed to having your guests pay six, seven, $8
Oh,
for a beer.
hmm.
So I mean, it's not a lot of money to supply the alcohol, and to save your guests from having to open their wallet every single time they want to go to the bar for 6 hours. And I have a little sheet of paper that I created, the difference between the three types of services in the state of Maine.
Hmm.
So if any venue or any couple honestly wants to email me, misty.coolidge@gmail.com, and ask me for this, I'm happy to email this out so that they'll have a cheat sheet on what the rules are, I guess, on.
Right.
So if a couple wants to hire a licensed caterer, that means they have a liquor license from the state of Maine in their name.
Yes.
So even if they're operating an LLC, their DBA should be on that license.
Yep.
If it's somebody else, red flags should be popping up everywhere because they
Hmm.
should not be operating under a different license.
Right.
They serve food in some capacity. So you say, hey, you have a license. How do you serve food? And they
Hmm.
should tell you that they're either connected with a restaurant, or in some capacity that company that they're working for serves food.
Hmm.
They have to purchase the alcohol and bring it to the event.
Right. Okay.
Then they can charge a cash bar to the guests, or they can do an open bar that's paid for by the hosts.
Okay.
Okay. They cannot serve any gifted, donated, or homemade alcohol because by law, with that license, they have to go buy everything. So it makes sense that if they have a connection with Allagash and they want to get a keg donated by a worker that works there for their wedding, a licensed service cannot serve that. It's against the law.
Hmm.
Because I've had many couples email me and say, hey, you're a non-licensed service. My mom makes homemade wine. Can she make a special wine for my wedding? Absolutely. I'm a
You
non-licensed
can
service,
do
so
that. I
I can
see.
serve
Yep.
that. A
Yep.
licensed service cannot, because again, that license means they have to go buy everything and bring it to that wedding. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and they also have to pull a permit. So they are required with that license. It's a way for the state to monitor them and to make money. They have to pull a permit through the town that they're operating in. So for example, if I have a caterer that comes to my venue and they're coming with food and liquor, then I can say, hey, give me your permit. Because they have to go to the town of New Gloucester, pull a permit to serve alcohol at my event. It costs $10, so it's not a lot of money.
Mhm.
But when you have 500 weddings operating on a Saturday times $10 for the state of Maine, it's a way for them to make money. And
I
it's fine.
see.
It's a
Yeah. Yeah.
business. I get it.
Hmm.
So that's the criteria for a licensed caterer. So then one step beyond that, to confuse you even more, is a qualified caterer. And that's what, like, Nick Orgo, Maine Catering. He's a qualified caterer, which means he can do both types of service. He can supply the alcohol with his license, or the couple can supply the alcohol and he can serve it.
I
So
see.
that isn't a very expensive license. It's still the same guidelines. So he has to pull a permit. He has to serve food in some capacity. He has to have a commercial kitchen that he cooks out of that's not open to the public, which he has. Um, but he can do either supplying the alcohol or the couple can supply it. So that's a unique
But
license. There's not very many qualified caterers
so the
in the state.
qualified caterer license, is that only because he runs a venue? He doesn't
Nope,
travel.
it's because he cooks in a commercial kitchen. He has a commercial kitchen that he cooks out of, so he can get a qualified caterer's license.
But is he also a mobile bar? Can
No.
he?
Well, yes, his catering company can come to a venue, serve food, and do the bar.
So
Yep,
food and bar, but
yep.
not just bar.
I see. Yeah, he can still do bar because he could go to like a fair and do a beer tent. He could go and not serve food there because you only have to have 10% of your sales be food.
Yeah.
So there's a license, a qualified licensed caterer, and then there's a non-licensed. So that's your three categories. So
Mhm.
for me, being non-licensed, which means it's a dry hire service,
Which sounds
um,
scary, but it's not.
it's not. It's just the state allows both to work simultaneously. It just means I don't serve food. I know people think when you talk to a new venue owner, they're like, "Oh, you're not licensed. I don't want you to be operating
Mm.
at my venue." No, that doesn't mean anything. That just means I don't serve food.
Right.
I'm as professional, if not more professional, than any other company that you'll find out there because I've got 14 years experience. I know Maine
Yeah.
liquor law. Not only that, but I own a venue. So I train my
Extra
staff.
careful.
I'm extra careful because when people come into my venue with a Bud Light that we're not serving Bud Light at the bar, like my staff is trained on how to look out for that stuff.
Hmm.
They know how to take liquor away from people that are bringing in coolers to a wedding. Like I train them in my spring staff meeting every spring on we role play on how to do those things,
Hmm.
in a fun way and way that imposes humor.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to piss
Oh,
anybody
I
off.
bet. I
So
bet it does.
liquor is really touchy for some people. You're not going to go take their beer; they're going to punch your lights out. So,
Especially
you have to be
after they've had a
careful.
few beers.
Right. So as being a non-licensed, I do not have to have a license. I'm a dry hire company, which means the client must supply the alcohol. I cannot go shopping for them. I don't care if they pay me. I've had couples say, "Hey, do you mind if I pay you to go shopping for me?"
Mm,
Nope, I cannot do that. I'm not gonna do that. Like it's not okay for me. And it can only be an open bar. So there's no cash bar. And it makes sense because if the couple's supplying the alcohol, they can't charge for it. They don't have a license to sell alcohol. I don't have a license to sell alcohol, so it has to be an open bar.
oh, wait a minute. Okay, so it's an open bar.
Yes.
Oh,
Sure.
I had that backwards. Okay, so it's an open bar. Nobody pays any money for this
Right.
alcohol. Because
And they can't, and
I see.
I've had some couples say, well, can I put a donation jar on the bar? I'm like, nope, because that's selling alcohol. Can I
Mhm.
put a honeymoon fund jar on the bar? Nope, because if in any way, shape, or form, you cannot look like couples putting any money across that bar.
I see. So
Um,
you know what? That's
so,
actually really good because it sounds more impressive when you have an open bar at your wedding. That,
well, and it saves them a lot of money because with a licensed company, you gotta cover all of their costs too. The liquor license is expensive. And if they're gonna bring in the liquor, they're gonna charge you for that. If you're,
okay, so you guys don't upsell drinks.
no,
Oh
it's
my
their
God.
liquor because
Oh,
I don't sell any drinks.
right. Okay. Wow.
So
So
it really saves the
service
couple
fee.
money.
It
So when
does.
I had a couple years ago do their own research, which I welcomed because even at my venue, I don't require couples to use my bar service. They can hire a licensed service. They can hire um, a separate cash bar service like spirits, or they can hire me. They have three options. And she was like, okay, well, I don't know if I want to shop for my liquor, even though I told her it's a phone call. You're going to call, to place your order. So she called another bar service that was licensed and got some pricing differences. And she saved about $5,000 by hiring me as a
Oh,
non-licensed
I
service.
I understand that now. Wow.
Because the license service is going to they make a lot of money off that
So,
license, which rightfully so. I mean, if I had a liquor license, I would be banking on that too.
mm-hmm.
So you are spending a lot more money if you have a licensed caterer
Right.
do your bar. And a lot of couples, and I also explain this to couples too. They're like, well, I have a caterer that's doing my bar, my food and my booze. Like I've met people at bridal shows, and so I don't need your service. And I said, well, don't be afraid to separate that out. Like your licensed caterer does not have to do your bar just because they have that as part of their services. You can separate that out because you're going to save money by supplying your own as opposed to using them as a licensed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think some of them are afraid to do that or ask, but you certainly can. I work alongside licensed caterers all the time as a dry hire service. The couple just choose not to use the bar side of their company, and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. We're all business owners. We're all here to make a living and support our families and, live out a dream. And so, as a couple, just try to educate yourself a little bit on liquor law. I mean, in my opinion. Um, and then the other thing that we can do is that we can serve donated alcohol. So if a mom or somebody makes homemade wine and you want to, make some special labels and have something bottled. I even had a couple go through Celador, and they went to a winemaking class. They made a special batch for their wedding. They had Celador make custom labels for them, and they gave that away as favors for their wedding. Of course, you can't open it on site, but we handed the bottles out as they left the venue and they were leaving the wedding, and said, "This is your favor from the couple, and enjoy this at home."
Wow.
So, and a licensed bar service cannot do that. And then we don't have to pull any permits, because we're not licensed. We're not monitored by the state of Maine, so I don't have to pull a permit through the town.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's a little bit of learning. But I'm happy to, forward this cheat sheet to anybody that's inquiring or is confused. Email me. I'm happy to educate you on, the ins and out of Maine liquor laws.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at it. I try to educate people a lot. Um, and it helps sometimes, but I think there's still a lot of confusion still. So I'm
Right.
happy to help clear that confusion
So
so that people are operating correctly.
a dry hire um is perfectly legal. It
Yeah.
just isn't a liquor license in the regular sense.
Just means I don't serve food. That's all it means. Is that, it's just as great as a licensed service. There's just different guidelines we have to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there are some licensed bar services that don't like that non-licensed bar services are operating because it's, taking away from their bread and butter. But it's just like telling you, that's just like a caterer not liking another caterer that's
Mm-hmm.
operating. It's all business. Um, it's just the way of life. You're always going to have competitors. And
It's
there's
not
nothing.
illegal. It's not, it's just a different
No,
way. Yeah.
it's just a different way. I don't serve food, and I like saving my couples money, to be
You
honest.
definitely are.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm saving couples. I mean, and that's just how I operate with all my businesses. Like my venue is on the more affordable side because I think that weddings are stupid expensive, and I want to help people as much as I can save money if I can.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because I've got a big heart, and I've got a bigger heart for love for what I do than the want to line my pockets. That's not why I'm in business. And if that's why you're in business, I mean, good for you, but that's just not how I operate.
Well, I mean, I think
Or-
there's a happy medium. I mean, you can love your business, you can be completely passionate about it, but
but
I
monopolize on
really need to get paid for what?
it. But monopolize on it.
I- I- yeah, but I mean, I rightfully so, though. You need to be
Yeah,
paid a
absolutely. There's
fair
nothing
wage.
wrong with that. Everybody's going to charge different rates. I mean, there's dry hire services that start at 1,200, 1,500. I just haven't gotten to that point because I'm happy with where I'm at 950. And if it makes me happy, and it pays my bills, and should I go up? Probably. Um,
Yes, because the other bartenders upsell those drinks 11%, according to the
well, if you're
caterer.
if you're a licensed bar service,
Right,
you're going to
right.
charge a premium for
But I
selling
mean, I
cocktails.
know that, but still, you take all those upsell drinks, maybe your service fee probably could be 2,000, and it would still be under what those other bartenders are making.
You mean that the licensed bar
Mm-hmm.
services?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That are,
I mean, the couple that, like I said, did research, they saved about $5,000 by
mm,
hiring a non-licensed as opposed to a licensed bar
yeah.
service. So I'm a one-stop shop bar service. So I do everything for my couples. I haul all the equipment. I haul the ice. I haul the bars. I have three sets of attire. Like no other bar service has three sets of attire that their couples can choose from. So I have my classic black polo. I have a, black t-shirt with a Maine and a martini glass and jeans and a bistro apron to be more casual for like a barbecue type
So it just
wedding.
depends on the vibe of their wedding, and then you
Yeah,
can
or
tailor.
I have white shirts, black ties, and black aprons. So that's more formal for
Yeah.
formal weddings. So I
Hmm.
have three sets of attire. I have all my equipment matches their day. I customize signature drinks. I run all of their numbers. I help them with their liquor order and where to go and who to
Where to
call.
go? Yeah.
Yep, I do all of that. And so they don't need to do anything regarding the bar, things
How do you
themselves.
get those bars to the different venues? Do you have
With
a
my vans, I have four vans.
so the golf cart fits in the van?
Nope, that gets hauled by my husband's truck.
I see. That was that the only one?
I have a trailer. Yeah,
Uh, oh wow. So I
yeah,
come in and I really want your service and I get to pick out my bar and
yeah,
the outfits. Is
yeah,
that what you have me do? Oh, that'd be so fun. And
yeah.
then
I always ask what your color palette is, and
I was just
people
gonna
are like,
say,
"Why do you ask what my colors are?" I go, "Well, because I'm a female business owner, and I want to make sure that we match your day."
because if you have a champagne blushy color, oh, I just spilled this all over my shirt. Then you you might want your
So
drink that
yeah.
way.
Yep, and I can create their bar menu for them. So I do, the different font version is free. I customize it with pictures of their
Yeah.
drinks, or I have a calligrapher that I work with that I can do, a mirror, or a mahogany mirror, or a chalkboard sign that they can do in calligraphy, that I can
Yeah,
bring
I've
with
seen
me.
those.
Those are more expensive because I've got to hire a calligrapher, so it's like an extra $150, but it's not a lot.
You didn't take
Um,
calligraphy class at Christina's.
I did, but I'm not going to do a bar menu. I don't have time for that.
How do you do that with chalk anyway?
Right. So,
Uh,
anyway, so I do everything for them. I'm a one-stop bar service.
wow. Hmm.
So we talk about the caterer. I ask if they have a wedding planner because every couple, I don't care if you've got 30 people at your wedding, you need a day of coordinator to run. You look like a lush. Um, And then we talk about cocktails. We talk about beer, wine. Do they want a champagne pour? Do they want a wine pour at dinner? Do they want a welcome cocktail as guests are arriving for the ceremony? And we talk about all those different options. We talk about glassware. I don't love plastic at weddings because it has a huge environmental impact. So if you imagine all of the weddings that are happening on a Saturday in Maine, it's astronomical.
Wait,
If
you don't like glassware?
plastic.
Oh, I thought you said okay. Yeah, no, okay.
I don't like plastic at weddings. I mean, it is the most economical, and I get the couples that want to go that route, and they might go compostable, but compostable glasses are not attractive.
Mm,
Um, but I love favor glasses, and I always tell my couples favor glasses are the way to go.
flavor
Number
glasses.
one, it saves them a lot of money. Rentals are really expensive at 90 cents per glass times times 6 hours or 5 hours times 125 guests. That's a lot of glassware. That's a lot of
So
money.
do you mean favor glass so they can take the glass home as their
Yes.
I see.
So rentals are the most expensive. And so I try to avoid that and just in a way to save them money.
Hmm.
And then you got to, and because couples sometimes don't think about it. If you're doing rental glasses, where are we storing all of those? Where all those glass racks are clean gonna be, where we have easy access. And
Hmm.
caterers don't want them in their tent, so we can't put them there. And then where are we putting the dirty racks?
I remember this because my friend opened up a wine bar and that was her issue. The glasses, like where do we put the glass? And they had to bring them down to their apartment and wash them and bring them back. And it
Glass
was,
racks is a huge pain in the butt when you're talking about rentals. I mean, that could be like, 30 racks. Like that's a lot. So, and you're gonna save money.
I never
So
even
favor
thought of
glass.
that. Like,
So favor glasses are the cheapest way to go. There are, some sites if you Google wedding favor glasses, you're gonna have 1,000 sites that you can bring up. And I also tell couples that in order to put a cocktail in a glass, it has to be at least 14 ounces. I recommend 15 and above. Because if you get a 12-ounce plastic cup, once you fill that with ice, you're gonna get 3 sips out of that cocktail and they're gonna be back in line.
Hmm.
So I like 15-ounce glass or above for cocktails. Stemless wine glasses are the best
They don't
because they
fall over.
they look great with wine in them. They look great with prosecco in them. They look great with cocktails in them. So a 15-ounce stemless wine glass is amazing because it holds all of them. As opposed to, how many wine glasses do I need? How many flutes do I need? How many snifters do I need? How many rocks glasses? How many, beer tumblers? Like that's a lot of different glasses. What happens if we run out of champagne? You want me to put it in a pint glass if you didn't order enough?
Yeah.
That's a question.
So wait a
So if you,
minute. So you guys, the bar does not provide the glasses.
right, because every couple is so different on what they
I see.
want for their wedding. It's
Okay.
like it's like a I don't know
But
how
if
to
they get a
even.
favor glass, is
Yes.
that going to be at their table and they bring the glass, or you have the favor glasses?
No, so they have the glasses. I recommend places to go. Walmart, the 16-ounce
No,
wide
but I
mouth.
mean, do you have them behind your bar?
No, I recommend putting them on a little display next to the bar.
On, oh, yes.
Because after the ceremony, where's everybody go, Kim?
Well, I don't, but to the bar.
Exactly. So a lot of couples are like, well, I'm just going to put their name on them and have them sitting at their seats. So their seating chart will direct them to their seat. I go, they're not going to go to their seat after the ceremony. They go really beeline it for the bar.
Yep.
So we need to have them set up on a little display next to the cocktail hour bar. And I've got all of that shelving as well. So I have hutches and glass, brass shelving units. I've got industrial things. I've got all of these really cool, unique glass display case pieces that I bring with my wedding for my couples. And they can pick the vibe that they want. I've got, modern and I've got all of that.
Yeah.
So my staff will bring the rack, set the glasses up, and unbox them and everything and put them on the shelf and make it look pretty and maybe add a couple of, bud vases of flowers. And I tell my couples to supply me with like a couple 4x6 photo frames that we can put on that shelf too that make it look cute.
Hmm.
And if there's a wedding planner, then a wedding planner will know to stage that shelf anyway, that the couple doesn't have to worry
But
about
I
it.
mean, but do they hang on to that glass the whole night?
Yes.
Is there a name on it?
Usually. So I recommend
Oh,
them.
okay.
So depending on the glass they get, which is something we talk about in our Zoom meeting, a mason jar is great because I like the 16-ounce wide mouth masons from Walmart that doesn't have the handle on them because they have the embossed fruit on them, which I
Mhm.
think is just classic Maine. And then around the bottom neck, you can put a little jute rope with a tag. So either you can put their name and table number on it, so it
I
works
was
as their
just gonna
seating
say,
chart.
yeah.
Or if you have another seating chart idea, then you can just leave the tag blank and put a little sign there that says, please label your glass. And then
Hmm.
guests can do it themselves, which takes 2 seconds.
Hmm.
Or if you have a glass that doesn't have a way to put a rope on it, then on the bottom, like if you're getting a 15-ounce stemless wine glass, then I will send them a link to Amazon, these little white circles
Hmm.
that they can pre-apply to the bottom of each glass. And then couples, when they get their glass, can just turn it over, write their initials on the bottom, and then go to the bar.
Wow. I
So
like that as a table escort card. A,
yeah, I mean, having a wide mouth mason kills three birds with one stone because you've got your favorite glass,
hmm.
you've got your gift for them to take home, their favor,
Uh-huh.
and then you also have their seating chart. So it kind of solves all of those problems with
Yes.
one solution, which is great. Also, the Dollar Tree or the dollar store also has glasses for $1.25.
Hmm.
So those are also an inexpensive way to go. For example, let me grab one for you right here. So this is a great one. So this is from the dollar store. This has a handle, so it's a little fancier. But this is a water glass, if you recognize what it looks like. That you see this at restaurants sitting on the, at your setting with for water.
That's interesting.
But this makes a great favorite glass.
Yes.
and it's only $1.25.
But don't the whoever's catering your wedding provide water glasses? And
Oh yeah, but this would be
yeah.
separate. This would be at a little display next to the bar,
Okay, for the bar thing. Yeah.
for the bartenders. Yep. And
You know,
then
you'd think that after all the time I've been in this business that I would know all of this. I take pictures. I push a
so
button.
this is a stemless wine glass I was talking about. So this
Yeah.
happens to be a 21-ounce one from the Dollar Tree,
Huh.
the dollar store. So this is a $1.25. This is a 21 ounces. So it's a big glass. So
Hmm.
obviously we're not filling it. But also we, 3/4 full, and this would also prevent from if somebody hits somebody, it's not gonna slosh out either. So it's gonna have some nice empty space on the top for, if anybody gets their arm hit or whatever.
Hmm.
And then this is the stemless, this is the wide mouth mason I was talking about from Walmart. So you can put a little jute rope around the end. I love the little fruit here. I'm normally not a big mason jar person, but I think this solves a lot of problems for weddings, as far as a glass is concerned. And it's inexpensive, it's cute, it's classic Maine.
I mean,
Um,
plus it is a barn and it's got
because the
that
majority
feel.
of venues, let's face it, are barns. And it's a wide mouth, so it's easy to get ice in here
Oh, good
for
point. Yeah.
bartenders. So, the smaller masons are a little bit harder. Um, this is a 15-ounce stemless. So these ones you can get customized online. So you see the difference in size.
Uh-huh.
This is
Wow.
15, this is 21. These are
Yeah.
like 350 if you're gonna have something that's already pre-done. So this has a gold state of Maine, which is really popular to put on glasses.
Hmm.
The other thing I recommend is to not put your name and date on your glass. Um, no offense to you, but all of your plus ones and people that don't know you are not going to take your glass home. They're going to leave it behind.
Wait, do you know how many glasses we have in this house that have
That have
wedding
names.
names in?
Yes,
Because I
yes,
give them mostly to Dave because Dave's always there at the very end of the night. That he's
yes, yes.
my husband is a DJ.
So if they have your name and date on them, it's too personal, and your guests are not going to bring them home. Your parents might, your bridal party maybe, but they're never going to drink out of it again.
Well, I do.
Um, So this having a state of Maine is the most popular way to do it. It's easy. It's not personal. This has a little heart right here where New Gloucester is, where my venue is.
Oh,
So this is
okay.
one of my glasses from one of my couples.
Hmm.
Um, so this is a great way to do it. These are about 350, $4. So it's not crazy. It's not going to break the bank.
Yep.
And then these are $1.25 from the dollar store. And then this you can order in 12 in packs of 12 and have them shipped to your house from Walmart. So
Right.
great options. Of course, there's a million others, which I go over during my Zoom call, but that's the basics. Those are my four favorite glasses that I recommend,
Yeah.
as opposed to rental glasses, because
And there's
rental
a
glasses
reason
are so
why
expensive.
each of
They
them,
work.
yeah, they work.
They're
There would
inexpensive.
like
It,
this
it
wouldn't work.
no.
This would
And
fall. I just spilled some,
well,
it's
I mean,
flimsy.
martinis aren't big requests at weddings anyway. Number
Right.
one, they're time intensive, and you don't want to. I mean, sure, we can make you a
Margarita
Cosmo.
glass.
I can make you a Cosmo, but it's going to go in your favorite glass.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to serve it in a martini glass because it's going to get
No,
hit in
I
two
was just talking about
seconds.
stem glasses in general.
Right, but it's going
Yeah.
to get hit.
Right.
And it's going to slosh out on Aunt Betty, and she's going to get mad that you just spilt your drink on her dress. So you don't want martini glasses at weddings anyway. I mean,
Right.
late night, once in a while, I'll get a request that couples espresso martinis are so big right now.
I've never had one. I gotta try one.
So I'll come over, I'll make you one.
Is it coffee?
So
Like, is there coffee? Espresso coffee?
espresso, you can buy espresso mixer from Amazon.
Mm.
Yeah. So, I mean, once in a while, I'll have couples, well, actually, not once in a while, quite often nowadays, I'll have people that want like espresso martinis as a surprise during dessert, which is great. I love it. And yes, I will
I love
use
it.
martini glasses for the bride and groom for pictures, so it looks pretty.
Yeah.
But I'll bring a couple, or they'll bring a couple that's fancy that they bought at, the at Hobby Lobby that's maybe matches their colors or have polka dots on it or something. But your guests aren't going to want to drink it out of a martini glass at that stage of the evening.
Right. Right. Right.
They're going to wear
And
it.
your drinks. I remember you were on the some sort of news story. Your drinks
Yeah.
are so pretty too. They're so
Well,
colorful.
I really try to work with my couples on not only the drink and the taste and making sure it's a crowd pleaser, because
Mm,
not only are you trying to, I want to make my couples happy. Of course, that's my number one job. But you don't like I had a couple the other day that they just wanted a Captain Coke for the groom. And I was like, well, we can do that. But our 80% of your guests want a Captain and Coke.
Captain Morgan?
It's the least expensive spirit. It's the least popular spirit.
Hmm.
Whiskey's number one, vodka's number two, tequila's number three, gin's number four, and rum's number five.
Do a lot of people just order those drinks straight up, or do they? Oh, most of them get the mixed drinks.
As far as what?
As far as, I mean, maybe I'm not saying, maybe I'm not using the right lingo. Just the alcohol. What does straight up mean? I don't
Straight
know.
up means just not on the rocks. I
Oh,
don't
okay. Well,
recommend.
I
I
mean,
don't.
do they just order straight whiskey? Like, I think people do that, and I
Well,
don't
you
even
got to
know
be
how they go
careful
with it.
because my company doesn't allow shots. You don't. I recommend that couples not allow shots at their wedding because you want to keep your wedding classy, not trashy. Um, but
Yeah,
because I don't
alcohol
want
can be a real
I don't want
problem.
people vomiting at your wedding. And shots promote that. Most people can't handle shots, unfortunately. So
No, and then they'll have another one before the first one even kicks in, and
so if
you
a
know,
21-year-old comes up and says, "Can I get a glass of whiskey neat?" No. Love you. Would you like whiskey and ginger? Would you like a mule, a bourbon mule? Would you like any of the other anything else? Just because
what
they're
did you
going to go
call it?
around
Whiskey neat?
if they want this whiskey neat, which
What does
means
that
without
mean?
ice, means without ice.
Just plain whiskey.
Yep. And they're going to go around the corner and shoot it. They are.
Yeah.
So if a grandfather comes up and says, "Hey, can I get, a little bit of Maker's Mark neat?" Absolutely. I know that they're
Right.
not going to go around the corner and shoot it.
Because
So
that's
it's
what they drink
all
in their little cigar room all the time.
right. Right, right,
Mhm.
right. And of course, there's exceptions to every rule. So I don't want people to think, "Oh, well, don't hire me mixologist that she doesn't allow shots." Well, you shouldn't want them, but it's fine if you do. Like I've had couples, I had a couple last year actually. They're big skiers. So they have one of those ski
Mm.
shot skis where
Hmm.
they do the shot together. And they're like, "Do you mind?" I'm like, "Nope, not at all. Like it's your day. I don't mind. Like after toast, if you want to do a shot ski together, like that sounds so much fun. I love that.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
do it. Let's do it."
I've had that a lot.
Or a couple years ago, I had a couple that wanted to have a seating chart as shot glasses. So they had made a custom made a wall to hold, personalized shot glasses for all the
Empty,
guests.
empty.
No, they wanted to serve shots to guests to get their seat. They had to do a shot. I was like, okay, well, a cute idea, like sure, but let's put a drink in it, not a shot. And they're like, "Oh, well, that works. That's cool. That's a good alternative." So we did something fruity. And so we pre-made a cocktail and we dispensed it out of, dispensers and into each glass and they had a little flag sticking out of each one with their name and table number on it.
Hmm.
It
Mm.
was adorable. And
Yeah,
I thought
that's a cute
that was
idea.
great. So, when there's things like that I get requests to do, there's ways to do it professionally. But you don't want Grammy Betty over there doing a shot of whiskey before she gets to her
All right.
table.
Now I have to ask you this. I have to ask. What is the most outrageous thing that has happened to your bar service? I mean, has there been ridiculously someone very drunk and you're unruly, or did you have to
Um,
kick anybody out, stop serving? And they do start drinking at the getting ready process. They're drinking. They're
well,
drinking
and
all day a lot of times, which
receptions and receptions, that's why receptions are 5 to 6 hours for that reason, because people are going to start drinking early in the morning most often. Girls with mimosas and the guys will open some beers while they're getting ready, and that's great. But the majority of people can't handle drinking for 12 hours at a time. So having and having a 6 or 7 8 hour reception, I'll get a bar questionnaire back that says, "We're starting at 3:30, we want to end at midnight." I'm like, "No, like
mm-mm,
that's you're gonna have people passed out by 9."
mm,
But most receptions are 5 to 6 hours. Beyond 6 hours of drinking, you really don't need that or
no.
want that, to be
You go
honest.
to the after party, and that's another whole episode. Well, okay, Misty, thank you so much. This was a lot of great information. I'm just I'm blown away by what I learn every episode. But thank
Yeah.
you.
Of course. And again, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to help. I want to help educate people. So if you're a new bar service and you want help, if you're a wedding venue and if you want me to help you, there's under no obligation that you have to hire my bar service. I'm a big helper and I want to make sure we're all operating, correctly and legally and safely. And I want all the couples to be taken care of. So if you have any questions, if any venue has a question, if any wedding planner has a question, I'm happy to email them this little summary that I created of the difference between the bar services so they can educate themselves. And then even in their leases, or, they can put down in their leases what they require at their venue. That's really helpful too. I have, every type of service that they can hire in my lease. So I'm protected. So I'm
Yeah.
happy to help anybody who needs help.
You really are very, very helpful. It's incredible. You do it all. You don't charge enough though. No.
I know. Sorry.
Well, thanks
Anyway,
everyone.
yeah, I'm Misty Coolidge, Maine mixologist. I'm happy to help you in any way I can.
Yeah, and I'm Kim Chapman Dion, Kim Chapman Photography. We'll see you next time.
Bye,
Bye
everybody.
bye.